The left side I'm writing the class component. First I need to import React. For every class component we need to extend react.component. So let me create one class component, extend react.component. Then I'm going to write the render function. Render function is the most important function of a class component, because in render function you return how your view should look like. So basically I'm writing JSX, I'm returning on JSX object. So this is a basic class component. This is also called a classic React component. Then I'm coming to functional component. For functional component also you need to import React. For function component you just need to write a function and you have to return how your view should look like, and that is the JSX part. Now I'm coming to the props part. How we do show the props, how would you access the props in class component and functional component. In class component you can access the context, this, to access the props. So let's say I'm passing name as a props, so I can use this, the props of name, to show the name. And in functional component, the first argument of the functional component is the props. You can just use that object to access the props. Also, if you're using ES6 restructuring, you can directly destructure the props and just get the props that you want. So as you can see here, the functional component is definitely more cleaner than the class component. But class component also has some advantages. I'm going to add some more items in the class component. You might have noticed that class component has a constructor. In the constructor you can initialize some of the things. After props, the next thing we normally do is the state, setting state. In class component what we do is we use this.state to initialize the state. So we are adding one state called age. Okay, so this is our state, this.state.age, and whenever we want to change the state we use setState. But in case of functional component we can't use the setState because we don't have a this object. So for functional components, the recommended way of adding state is using the hook called useState. All you have to do is you input useState from React, and then you pass your initial state. The useState returns one array. You can restructure the array to get the states. The first item in the array is the state, initially that is 20, and the second one is the function to set the state. Then you can directly use the state, and whenever you want to set the state, use the setState. So here I should name the function as setAge. This is also more cleaner than the class approach. Now there are some rules of calling useState. The first most important rule is you should always call useState in the same order. This functional component is going to be called multiple times, and each time you need to call your useState functions in the same order. Let's say we are calling it twice. First one is age and second one, let's say, country. Initial state is, let's say, USA. Now we are calling this two use states. The first one is age, second one is country, and you should always call the use state in the same order, because see, we're not providing any information to React. What is this 20 and what is this USA? We're not adding any keys, right? So how will React will know that the first one is the age and the second one is the country? Because we're calling in that order. So React stores the order. When you're calling the use state again, you'll get the same age and the same country. And if you use the setter function, set age or set country, React is going to change that state. Next time when you will call the use state, React will return a new value. Next I'll show you the lifecycle event component read mount. We use this lifecycle hook to add some code when the component is mounted for the first time, but we don't have anything like that in the function component. But we can use a hook called use effect. So in use effect we have a callback, and here inside the callback we can do the same thing as component did mount. So use effect is called whenever the second argument changes. In the second argument we can provide some value. So we are providing some value. But whenever the second argument changes, React is going to call the use effect again. So if you are not providing any value in the second argument, in that case React is going to call this use effect only once. So you can easily initialize initialize the code here. Then next, why not add some events? We're adding a button on click. So we're adding a one click handler, and we click. We're doing something here on the handle click, and we're on this click. Now you might have noticed that if we use something like this, you have to bind the context. Such things are not required in the functional component because you don't have any context. So let's say I'm adding one button here as well. On click, okay, let's say I'm creating one callback function, handle click. Now you might think that this is inefficient, right? Because every time when you are calling the functional component, this handle click is going to be initialized. To handle that, we have one hook called use callback. So basically what you do is you provide your function, your callback function as the first argument, and second argument you provide some arguments when you want your callback to be executed. But if you are not providing anything, then React will always use the same callback. So it is going to return on cached version of the callback. So let's say I have click. So in this case, even if you're calling the function multiple times, handle click will point to the same callback. So you don't have to call it multiple times. You don't have to create the callback multiple times.